Today I'm going to talk about to be set apart. That is, I see that it's very hard to understand it. And today on Facebook it was about a rabbi come and talk to me on Facebook, and he didn't understood about set apart. It was in that way that he thinking that a woman can never be set apart from God. In his thinking and have learned from those other rabbis, and there is school also for rabbi to go and learn how to think in the same way that everyone are thinking. That is in Jewish tradition, that I'm going to be rabbi. So they learn the same error, and the biggest error is that women can't have nothing with God to do. They have with God to do after the man, behind the man, 2 step behind the man. That's how they're thinking. So it seems impossible for them to understand that God can set apart a woman. But you that have followed me, you know that the Spirit have told me, and God have told me, that I was His treasure. They say that to me, and they say that I was in a chest, in a treasure chest, where there it was my heart, and the heart belonged to God, and the chest was locked with a chain and a lock, and the key for the lock was throwing away, so no one could open it to take that heart away. And that was what I learned for some weeks ago, that I was in that treasure chest. And it sounds a little wrong for me. Maybe it's a treasure, but that is inside a chest. So I hope it's right. And I was so special for God, because that is very big screaming when I say that. Before I really knew who I was. And I only say I was special for God. And everyone is special for God. But it's not. That was, this rabbi was started to talk to me, because I say, God is not a communist. That means that everyone is equal in that way that a leader wants them to be. They are not free. They are in like a prison of what the dictator is wanted it to be. It's a dictator to be communist, real. There is a variation of communist, but those really, really hard communists, they, like North Korea, for example, they want people to look the same and say the same and act the same. The whole society should be only like one person. If you see one person, you have seen everyone. And that's not God, because he sees us in different way, and he meet us where we are just today. He is not. He don't want people to be placed in the same spot and do everything, because he loves a playful heart. He loves those children, even if you are an adult. He loves you when you are a child, because a real child, it have no problems. A real child enjoy life to the fullest. If it's is in an environment that let this child be a child, and that's what God loves. But then he loves also responsible people, and he loves loving people, and there is so much variation of how we are, who we are, and how we act and react, and we are. But he loves us all. But then there is, as I have been up to heaven, I have seen it and been confirmed that there is a hierarchy in heaven, and that is also what heaven see us here on earth. That is a hierarchy where people are, all people are loved of God, but then is it special people that God have set apart, and God have called them to go out and do things, and we do it differently. So I am set apart, and my that I was set apart to do for a purpose, for some work for God, and he took me out. First he educated me in how hard life can be for a child and growing up, and this hard world we live in, and then he started to let me travel away and meet people that could do some big different for the world if they have listened to me. But they didn't listen, so that didn't work, but that God knew that. So it was only a test on these people that I met in United States, in Israel, in Africa, in Portugal. It was a test on them, how they were doing, and all these people I have met in cyberspace that I have met and talk about the need I have for to could do the work for God, and it was before the podcast come, and now I can do it on my own. And I did videos, I did live broadcasting before the podcast, and it didn't work out. I didn't get anyone that support me, and I don't mean money. Support me to help me to get a building, to gathering people in and have a church, and that didn't work. I have been some weeks we have a synagogue here in my city, and I was there, and I was the only woman there. It was only men, and it was hard to could do the whole service in a synagogue because there was too few men, and I was sitting there, but I was not allowed to do anything because I was a woman, and I had to sit way back in the room and not touch the I don't know what it's called, this silver covered Torah rule. They took it out from the cabin, but they couldn't take out the Torah roll from the cabin if they were not. I think it was they need to be 5 men. I think circumstance also and be okay men. So it happened that they needed to call someone in another city far away to come to the service because they couldn't take out the Torah roll from the cabin. So we have to wait until that person come. So it was not many in the synagogue, and they were always frightened that it should be some terrorist things. The synagogue is in downtown here, and they were frightened about me coming there, and they didn't want me there. It's confused them because no one was there that was a woman, and a woman couldn't do anything. So that the Rabbi in the Jewish, those really Orthodox Jewish, because I say that is not everyone, but those that is very deep into Torah, they are also into the worldly thing. They are the opposite what they should be, because they are really into money. They are really into money, and they think in money. Because I start to be interested to see, learn more about the Jewish tradition, and so I make friends on Facebook that was Rabbi. Many Rabbi do I have as friends, and I wanted to see how they were living their life, and there is on Facebook that they suggest friends. They give you names of maybe you know this person or want to add to your friend list. And in those people that was into bank business, gold business, money business, all this with money to do, they have lots of this Rabbi, be friend with them. And I read how they talking also, and I know as I have been to Israel that to travel to Israel is not so expensive, but to live there, to rent a hotel room is very expensive. I have find in Tel Aviv I have find cheap hotel that is very cheap, but it is not a good quality. But for me, is it only the hotel need to have internet and then a clean bed, and I don't need any, not more added to it. So I live in a simple hotel. I have last time I was in Israel, I have got money from a mental sick man, but he was scared and he wanted me to travel to Israel for him. But it was God that told me to go to Israel, but I didn't have any money. And only one day after God have told me to travel to Israel, this man come and he say, "Can you do the traveling to Israel for me?" He said, and I buy you a surf plate, what I have here now recording. He said that to me. I give you money, and then he wanted a chauffeur, this like the trumpet they have in Israel, and he said you can recording and show me live from Israel, so it's like I am there, he says. So he sent me much money, and it was much money, so I could be in a comfort hotel, and then also that I needed to stay close to where God wanted me to go, and I was going to Holon in Israel, and it's where the Israelite Samaritan live, most of them. It's their area, and I should meet one of the leader for this tribe. So I needed to stay close, so I could take a taxi to that city. So, and there was only expensive hotel, but I could stay in a expensive Russian hotel. So, but when the second time I was in Israel, I was staying in a very cheap hotel, and those messianic Jewish people, they say that they wanted to meet me in Tel Aviv, and they say they will come to my hotel and get me and then take me to their their church. They say that to me, and they didn't come because they were thinking that there was no money to get from me, and she was not from God as she don't have any money. And I got it confirmed because in the hotel they told me that there was someone that have called me and asked if I lived in that hotel, and they have said that I live there, so they knew that I was staying in a cheap hotel, so they didn't want to come. That was money that hold them back, but they were not of God, so they were fake, thinking they do the right thing, and Messianic is about Jesus Christ. So that was nothing to. I don't feel sad about it. I feel sad sometimes that I don't get any help of any man to make could do more, reach out all over the world with the words and what the spirits are telling the world. So for me, it's very important that you share this podcast with your friends, so I can get more listener. I have some followers, mostly from United States, and then is it Belgium and Ireland and Germany and I need more people. But I know I have said that many times that it's not supposed to be a big flock of people follow me. It is not. God have not a big flock. That's Jesus that have that big flock. They follow him. And most in the world is it growing more and more this with Jesus. It's like a mold, poison going on, and it's not Jesus' fault. It's people's fault. It's people that wanted him to be God and love it, and they hate me for saying this, that Jesus is not God, and they hate me so much. I get so much. They don't show up on Facebook, my profile, but they send me message on Messenger. They sending me sometimes very nasty things, that they want me go to hell, and these things, and they call themselves a Christian, and they are Jesus follower, and think that Jesus was God that was walking around here on earth. They think, and so they hate me. So I can be killed of this sort of Christian, those that standing outside on the roads screaming about Jesus. They are dangerous, very dangerous. And so it have been in all generations, this, from the start. The Christians was like military army, and they kill everyone that don't wanted to agree that Jesus was God. They kill all these people that say that God was supreme. There was no one on his side. It was not three in one. It's and they kill everyone that say the opposite, that say they didn't agree. So heaven was taken by force, but it was in the wrong way, because it was a wrong belief and a wrong religion. I'm out from religion. It's craziness, this religion, and I try to make you understand this with the spirits, but it's about the same thing, like this talking about Jesus, that he was not God. He was a messenger from God. He was not a God. He heard. He say that very often, that my Father, and he say not me. He say my Father and I. That means the Father is before the Son, and he say also the Son of Man and the Son of God. The Son of God when he was in the Spirit, because he was one with God when he was in the Spirit. When you are in the Spirit, you are very close to God. So in the Spirit, you are one with God. Oh, and that is not only Jesus that was. But I agree that he was the firstborn of a woman that had this close connection with God. And he was the first messenger for God. Before that, it was God that was doing this contact with people. But God saw that it didn't work. It needed to be someone walking around and tell people what God was talking about to them. But they still didn't understood, and already 325 they changed everything, so Jesus become God instead. And that is not Jesus that have done it. It's not his fault. It's the people that make him be God. Jesus never told us that he was God. He say, God and I am one. And when I am in the Spirit and God is coming here, and I have told you that God is coming inside me. He is over my head, and I don't see him because it's only a spirit. And then he go down in my body and start to talk out from my body, from my mouth. He talking to you. And I can also say that I and God, we are one, because he is inside me, in my body. So God and I is the same in that moment. But then he leaving, and then I am me only. So that's what Jesus was saying. But people want to think what they want to think. So they wanted him to be God. So they take this, that he was one. And the Word was from the beginning. That was God. God that was a spirit. He created our planet with his words. So the first words was from God the Spirit, and not from a body talking. It was from a spirit talking. And we all was with God from the beginning. We were in his plan. God can see the whole existence of our planet from the first day to the last. And if it be the last, I hope not. So he had already us in his mind. We were already there with him from the start when he's sending the light down to this planet. We were already in his plan. That was what he is saying in the Genesis 1. So set apart was it I was talking about, but I come to talk about more than that. But set apart is to be a special person for God in his plan for this planet. And I can do much in my own will, but many times I can't do it. I can't say that, no, God, I don't want to do it, when God tell me to do something. I have to do it, what God is telling me. But it is never evil, it's good things. So if you have voices in your mind telling you to go and kill someone, that is not God. That is the devil inside your mind. So I'm talking about the voice I can hear sometimes. It's only good things or warning people for something, make them to survive things that they're coming through to talk to us about. Never kill anyone. God doesn't kill, so he should never tell you to kill someone or do bad things, criminal things. So set apart is to not be so much involved in the world, to sit and wait for God to tell you what to do. The next step, to wait on God, is to set apart. In Hebrew, set apart is to be placed on the side of the world and not be in the world, but be on, not in the world so much, but wait for God to tell you what to do. You have heard it before that you need to take baby step to go forward, and that is it. If I should say my 22 years in development, the evolution for me, the education I have got from God, it's have been baby step if I place it in how long time it have been till I come to this moment. This could go up to heaven. If I need to go up to heaven, I go up to heaven and come back. And those spirit that is coming. But 22 years it took me from not knowing anything about God, not knowing anything about other words, dimension. Worlds is the same as dimensions. We can see. They say we can see 4 now dimensions, but there is many, and so it have been baby steps, even if it's have been sometimes very fast education, but also times where I have to wait for God to do something, tell me to do something, like be close to me. And I also have this, that sometimes it's feel like God is far from me, but it have not happened now, since I moved into this home for 2 years ago, that I feel like God is far from me. I am so close to God now, so He don't. Even if He maybe are like that He's going away, that He don't need to be close to me. He have His angels and spirits looking after me. But I feel like He never are far from me. That's the feeling I have in my mindset now, that I didn't have it before. So if you continue to listen to me, to this podcast, you will develop, you will be educated to have that feeling that God will never leave you. He is always there, even if it feels like it's a silence, but it is a silence with God in it. You can't be so selfish that you think that God should look at you the whole time. He have His watching eyes on you, that is from the spirits and the angels. The angel and the spirits is not the same. I have talked about that in another episode, about what is different between spirit and angels. So this is what I wanted to talk about today, that was going on, that those Rabbi, those that are so very sure that they know everything, those are those that know less than other people, because we are in the world. You are in the world, you live in the world, and you see things. But they sit in the dark room and read their books, and they don't see it, and they don't hear from God, because they are so much into count the letters, do these numbers, the math in the Torah. They are so focused on Torah, so they don't hear from God. So that is what I know today that I have learned from experience of life. So thank you for to listen, and God bless you.